Concept designs. So you've roughed out your story, you've established who your characters are, but now it's time to design them and figure out how they're going to look. Hello again, as always, I'm Brad. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've been drawing and designing characters for over 20 years in the animation industry, as well as a freelance illustrator and comic book artist. And recently I've begun working on an original concept for a graphic novel of my own. So I thought, why not document my process in a series of videos for this channel? By sharing my thought process and workflow with you, then maybe I'll inspire you to finish or complete that amazing original story that you have locked inside of you. Because I believe everyone has an amazing original story hidden inside of them. And graphic novels, comic books, and webcomics are some of the most efficient and cost-effective ways to tell that story to the world. Do you need to be an amazing artist to do this? Not at all. But locking down your design style, however simple or complex it may be, will be immensely helpful in this process. Now, for me, I've got my story locked down and I've got my outline mostly roughed out, so it's time to begin the character concept designs. And to do that, I'm going to start with this base model. I've already worked out in my head who this character is and what makes him tick. He's a strong, confident male character and one of two protagonists for this story. The story is also set in the far future, so his design should reflect that. He's also a strong, confident warrior who's a little scruffy looking and perhaps morally compromised. He's also been permanently scarred in some way, both physically and mentally, from his past battles. Why am I listing all these character traits? Because each one needs to be translated visually to this character. I've duplicated this base model 4 times, and I'll begin adding detail like facial details, hair, costume design, props, different elements that will give me what I'm looking for. But by having 4 different options, I can mix and match and tweak the details and the designs as I go until I find the look that I really want. So let's start with the first figure. I'm gonna give him some hair, keep it scruffy looking and messy. I'll add some face details, and I'll fill out a little more detail on his figure and his anatomy. Keep in mind, everything at this stage is still going to be very rough and loose and fast. Now I'll start adding some clothing details, trying to keep in mind those character traits that I had listed earlier. We'll give him some combat pants, some interesting boots, and I kind of like the idea of some kind of hood, maybe like a fur hood or something like that. So I think this works for our first pass. I'm going to take a few of these elements and rework them and add new elements. So we'll move on to the next version here, and we'll keep going. Okay, we got a couple versions here now. Yeah, I'm kind of liking the longer jacket, and let's lose those fancy boots. Gonna give him more combat boots. His head and hair are very similar, so let's try something a little different on the next version. And on to version 3. Going to take a closer look at his face details here as I'm cleaning it up. As I said, I want it to be a lot different than the other 2 versions. I want to play around with style and look. I really like the bearded, scruffy looking face, but let's try something different here. His overall face and head structure remains the same as the other 2 versions, because I've pretty much settled on this chiseled stoic look something reminiscent of something Bruce Timm would do, or like an old action animated TV show or something like that. For his hair, let's try something a little longer, maybe dreadlocks, something like that. His race doesn't matter to me. I just want a cool looking character that fits the uh, version of the story that I'm looking for. I like this face. I think it looks pretty cool. Now, let's move on to some costume details and yeah, work out some interesting choices here. I think we'll stick with the longer jacket and the really like the large hood. I like that. And like that, now I've got my first three versions. At this point, I can decide to scrap these if I'm not happy with any of them and start with a completely different style, character posture, things like that. But I'm pretty happy with the overall look of these designs. So now I will pick and choose the different elements from each that I like and combine them into a more finalized version of the character that I'm looking for. But before I do that, I want to give these characters a quick and loose ink line just to get a better feel of their structure and their overall look. And by doing that, I can come up with new ideas because there's still some character elements that I haven't included yet. Now we've finished our rough inks for the first version, and in doing so, I realized there's a design element I want to add. By giving him a robotic arm, his left arm, that covers the fact that we are giving him a futuristic element and a injury from a past trauma or battle. And now I'll move on to my second version of the character here, start giving him the loose ink lines, and I'm going to carry that robotic left arm through onto all these designs because I think that's really cool, and I think it works, and it works for the character in the story. Also, by loosely inking these character designs, I'm getting a better idea of how I want to finalize these characters in their comic artwork. I'm giving them a loose and somewhat thick black ink outline with minimal cross-hatching and interior detail. I think it looks kind of cool, and it's a little more efficient for creating a full comic or graphic novel. Moving on to our third version here, focusing on those face details at first and his hair, and yeah, we'll just keep going. Again, I'm going to carry that robotic arm through. I like the hood. And yeah, let's see where this goes. So, because I like some of the ink details I did on the first and second character versions, I'm actually just going to copy and paste some of those details and place them on the third character, and then tidy it up a bit and make it work. Okay, now all three of these are loosely inked, and I get a better idea of all the elements that I like. None of these three individually on their own are exactly what I'm looking for, but there are elements in each that I'm going to highlight, pick out, and incorporate into my final version. And here are the different elements from each character that I like. I've highlighted each. The first design, I'm liking his face and his hair. He's got that ex-military look that I'm looking for, and I need him to be a little morally compromised. There's an uncertainty of whether you can trust him. I'm sticking with the robot arm and the pants, and then I'll take some other elements from the other versions. The third version, while I like him a lot, I may end up using him as a separate character entirely for another part in the story. And now I'll take the elements from all three and I'll combine them into the fourth design. I'll probably just cut and paste most of it and then clean up and change what I need to as I'm moving along. I'm not liking the fur hood, so I'll erase that, get rid of it, and then copy and paste the hood from the third design because I like how that's looking. Keeping with the hood, I started to realize it would be a lot cooler if it was more of a poncho instead of a jacket with a hood. In fact, it kind of looks like a cape that's been tattered and torn up, a lot like him and his character. And with that, I think we finalized this character. I added a little shading for the cape. I'm quite happy with this. I think he looks exactly like the character I envisioned when I came up with the story. What do you guys think? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I respond to every comment. And yeah, I think we can move on to our next character. She's been mostly designed. I think you've seen her in a previous video, but she might need to be tweaked and modified a fair bit before I finalize her. So if you like this video, please subscribe, hit the like button, and again, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear from you. And I've got some interesting videos coming up as soon as I can. But your support means the world to me, and it allows me to continue creating videos like this for you. So for more character design videos, please click the links below, and I will see you in the next one. All the best. Keep drawing.